Okay, so weeks back, I posted a video of me vibing to a music that was trending on the internet. They have still trending. And along with that particular video was a caption or a photo that had the spelling of the word water and its phonemic transcription. And I also remembered on that video, I sarcastically asked you guys to tell me the right pronunciation of the word. Yes, but it seems we're more focused on my dancing moves, yep, rather than the question I asked. I know I can dance, right? Yep, I can dance. But that's not why we're here. That is not why I'm here. For those of you who haven't seen the video, the question was actually about the different levels of complexity in the pronunciation of the word water. The word you see on the screen right now. I'll put in the caption there so you see what we're talking about. So now, let's look at the different forms of pronunciation, starting with that of British, which originated in the east-west of London, particularly those in the working class area. So you see, these people pronounce water as water, water. So in this form of pronunciation, the letter T is swallowed, or simply put linguistically, that it is omitted or elided. And in this case, it is being replaced by a glottal stop. My phonetics or linguistics students or people will understand this. So away from this form of pronunciation, let's look at also the standard British pronunciation. We know that British people have different accents and ways of pronouncing words depending on the region. Now for the British, the standard British English, it is pronounced as water, water. Now unlike the previous pronunciation, there's an emphatic stress on the letter, the first letter of the second syllable, which is the letter T. You know, in the previous one, the letter T was elided or omitted or silent. But in this case, in the case of the standard British English, the letter T is well pronounced, right? And one thing about this form of pronunciation is that it is similar to that of Nigerian pronunciation, right? Now, the Nigerians pronounce water as, yes, just as I just called it, they pronounce water as water, water. And then in Pidgin, water. So the reason for these similarities is as a result of, don't forget, at one point in time, we shared communal relationship with these people, and in some ways, we have been influenced by their culture, their lifestyle, as well as their language, right? Okay, so that is why you see that there is this similarity in pronunciation. For the British, you have water. For Nigerian, you have water. And then in Pidgin, you have water, right? So now, away from the standard British English pronunciation, let's look at lastly the American pronunciation. The Americans pronounce water as water, water. Could you please get me a glass of water? Can I have a bucket of water? Right? So now you see that in this form of pronunciation, the letter T is being replaced by a soft flap sound, which is similar to that of a quick D. So now we've been able to look at these different forms of pronunciation. I know that the differences between the British, the American, and Nigerian form of pronunciation, or form of pronouncing the word water, is due to variation in regional accent, right? Right. So that brings me to why I'm making this video, because like I said in my previous video, with the level of pronunciation I hear these days, especially from Nigerian students, like I said in that video, Ike Guru, your child comes back home and tells you, Mom, I want to drink water. Water. And then when you're curious to know how he or she got that pronunciation, what you hear is, my phonics teacher. Teacher. You will hear my phonics teacher actually taught me to pronounce this word. Dear parents, dear phonics teacher or teachers, dear school owners, please, if you're listening to this, there is no such thing as water. Water. There is no such thing as water as long as phonics is concerned. First of all, let me even clarify this, because this is one thing that people do not understand. Phonics does not help you to twist tongue. The importance of phonics is to help you pronounce words in the standardized way. That is, if, for instance, the pronunciation of water in American English is water. What phonics does is that it helps you represent those letters in sound to enable you pronounce those words as it should be. Not to twist tongue, not to speak in some funny ways or fake an accent. No. The phonemic transcription for water is ot, and then you have in the final position of that word you have r. R. It ends phonemically. It ends with a schwa sound, and the schwa sound is pronounced as r, not e. The schwa sound is actually the e that is turned upside down. We'll look at that probably in my next class or video. But please, there is no such thing as water. The right pronunciation is water, using the standard British pronunciation. You have water. If you cannot call it water, then call it water. I think they will know that you are being a Nigerian. Because see, apart from the fact that when you do that, you end up disrespecting the language as well as the original speakers or owners of that language. You also end up changing the semantic interpretation of that word. Now, what does that mean? It means that you will alter the meaning of that word. Now, let me give you an instance in Igbo. You go to an Igbo man's house to say, the pronunciation for water in Igbo is mmiri. Now, you go to an Igbo man's house to say, Biko je wetere mu mmiri. What have you done? You have altered the meaning of that word because, of course, the Igbo man will question you. And what would the question be? Please, what did you say? Can you please come again? Can I understand what you're trying to tell me? Because to the Igbo man, the pronunciation for water in Igbo is mmiri. And you just pronounced it as mmira. And even if there is a meaning, another meaning, even if that particular word, that mmira means something in Igbo, it definitely will not be water. Now, what changed there? Just a single letter. From mmiri to mmira. Just the letter, the word at the final position, letter I, being replaced with an A, right? Changed the whole game. I'm just trying to use this illustration so that you get and understand better why you shouldn't twist your tongue when you speak English. Be proud enough to speak in your accent. Yes, it is part of your history. It is part of your accent is you. So learn to embrace it. Yes, your accent is you. It is part of your identity, right? It tells a lot about you, your culture, your history, your background, your struggles, and even you as a citizen of a country. So be so unapologetic about it. That is not to mean that you can't speak in whatever accent you want to. But when you do that, make sure to put those words in the proper stress placement as well as rhythmic tonation and correct pronunciation. Because when you don't do that, do you know how you sound? Funny. Perhaps embarrassing. And of course, you wouldn't want to sound like that, would you? Anyway, I think I'm done ranting. So until I come your way again, do well to always speak right and, speak in the right diction, because that is what basically phonics is all about.